Welcome back, everybody. My name is Nick. This is Swiftful Thinking, and in this video, we're going to take a very quick look at AnyLayout in SwiftUI. This is basically an introduction to the layout protocol in SwiftUI. So when we're creating SwiftUI views, almost every view has some sort of VStack or HStack. All of those stacks conform to this layout protocol. And SwiftUI has a type erased layout called AnyLayout that allows us to create views using any layout rather than a specific HStack or VStack. So I'm going to do a video in the future that gets more into the actual layout protocol and how we can really customize it ourselves. But in this video, we're going to do a very beginner level look at what is AnyLayout and how can I use it in my application. All right, welcome back, everybody. Again, in the SwiftUI Bootcamp playlist, it's going to be another quick video here. Some of these are really small features, but I just want to get them on your guys' radar. We're going to right-click the navigator here, create a new file. It'll be a SwiftUI view, and we're going to call this one AnyLayout Bootcamp. Let's click Create. Let's jump inside real quick. This should be a very fast one here. AnyLayout is a tool that we can use to basically adapt our layout depending on the device orientation. And let's get into it. I haven't touched on this very much in this playlist because if you're a beginner, I guess I don't think it's the first thing you should be worried about. But in the environment, there's actually two key paths that we can use here. I'll use the \period here, and there is a horizontal size class. Let's make this a private variable called horizontal size class. And let's do another one for the vertical size class, and I'll call this vertical size class. I haven't really touched on these much in this playlist, but the size class for iPhone is either compact or regular. And it's basically just the size of the screen that the view is on. So if you just go and Google horizontal size class on iOS, one of the top hits is this blog we're going to look at real quick from userloaf.com/blog/size classes. It's a great little read if you have some extra time, but the bottom line of size classes is basically that there is regular and there's compact. And if we look at this example here, a iPhone Plus model, if it is in portrait mode, the vertical size class would be regular. And then if it's in landscape mode, the vertical size class would be compact. Now this definitely gets a little confusing because different models are going to have different classes. For example, some devices might be in landscape mode and still have a regular height, or vice versa. But as a developer, I think we should focus less on whether or not the device is in landscape mode and more just on if this class, if Apple is telling us that the device is compact, we know it's going to have smaller space, and then we can adapt our layout. And so I focus less on the actual devices here and more just on these environment variables are going to tell us whether or not it's compact or regular. So let's start this out with a HStack, and maybe I'll add some spacing of 12. And I'm just going to put two texts on the screen. Let's just put in horizontal with a colon, and let's just put the horizontal size class dot debug description for now. And I'm just going to do it for the vertical as well, just so that we can see what these actually are. And sorry, let's make this a VStack. All right, so right now the horizontal size class is compact. The vertical size class is regular. And we can kind of assume that, right? Like, look at this device. The vertical is the regular, it's the full height, and the horizontal is compact. It's the shorter width of the device. And now we're gonna draw some stuff on the screen here. Let's make another little VStack here, and let's just put in text alpha. And I will copy that. Let's do beta. Let's do gamma. Cool. All right, so we have a VStack on the screen, and we're going to focus just on this tiny VStack here, the alpha, beta, gamma. We're not going to focus on the horizontal, vertical. I'm just going to leave that on the screen so that we can see the actual values. Now, if this was your app and you were trying to make a different layout for whether or not the device was larger or smaller, whether it was compact or regular, you would add some code to like, if horizontal size class is equal to, and we can see that it's either going to be regular or compact. And if it is compact, then maybe we want to put this VStack on the screen. Cool. And then we'll say else So if it is not compact, right, meaning it's regular, the horizontal size class is regular, meaning there's a lot of space horizontally. So right now we can tell that there's not a lot of space horizontally. And because of that, we probably want to put our code in some sort of VStack. But if it was the regular dimension, so probably if this device was in landscape mode, we would have a lot of space. And in that case, we might want to put our layout in an HStack. So let's look at a quick example here. So I'm using right now an iPhone 14 Pro, right? And in the Pro, if we are in portrait mode, the horizontal is compact. And if I rotate it, I'm going to click this little icon down here and go to orientation. We're going to go to landscape. We can say even in landscape on the iPhone 14 Pro here, the horizontal is still compact. So this is one of those cases where it's not super intuitive. You would think here we have more room, but this is technically still a compact UI. And so in all of my compact UIs, we're going to have this vertical stack. Let's change this back to portrait, but this time I'm going to change my simulator. So for example, here, if I switch my simulator to iPhone 14 Pro Max, right, the Max has a larger screen size. So if I switch this now to the landscape mode, we can see in the horizontal size class in landscape mode on the larger device here is now regular. So on the max sizes and also on like the iPads, we're going to get the horizontal size as regular. And we can see our code, since it is now regular and not compact, our alpha, beta, gamma is actually in a HStack, which is pretty cool. So this would be a better UI for the larger width of the device here, because I have this space. But on the compact version, I want to keep it in a VStack. So this is cool, and we can write this code. But what we're talking about in this video is just something called AnyLayout. And it's basically being able to write this a little bit cleaner, because this is cool. But if you get really complex examples, like if you had entire screens inside here and inside here, it might get really maybe tricky to work with. So now what we're going to do is basically just write this code a little bit cooler by using something called AnyLayout. When it comes to the Swift language, generally when we see this word any before something, it implies that it's a type eraser of something. Now, I haven't covered what type erasers are in this beginner playlist, and I don't think you really need to know what they are. But it basically just means that any layout is something that could be any of the possible layouts. And so in this case, layout is actually a protocol. VStack is a layout and HStack is a layout. And this any layout is just saying, we're going to give it a piece of code that could be any layout. And so the closure here and the closure here are the exact same. So either of those could work for any layout. So what we're going to do really simply, we're going to say let layout of type any layout. And we're going to set it equal to any layout. And then you'll see in here, we have to pass in a layout. Now, if I start typing in VStack, you'll see that VStack layout is the official layout of the vertical stack. So I'll press enter here, VStack layout, open and close parentheses. So now this is actually type any layout, but we know it's actually going to be a VStack layout. And so I can put this on the screen now with layout and open the brackets. So the same thing that we have here, this VStack with the brackets, I'm going to now just put this code inside here. So now we have any layout, and this will be the content inside that layout. All right, and now obviously we want to still use this logic here. So if the horizontal size class is compact, then we want the vertical layout. Otherwise, we want the horizontal layout. So I'm just going to use a ternary operator here. I'm going to say let layout of type any layout, set it equal to, if the horizontal size class is equal to compact, question mark, then we're going to use a vertical layout that is erased to any layout. Otherwise, let's use any layout with an HStack layout. So if the horizontal size class is compact, it should be a VStack, otherwise an HStack. I'll zoom out a little bit just so this is on one line. And now we're just going to comment this out of our code. We're just going to have layout here, and we're going to look at the simulator, and we can see that the horizontal size class is regular right now. So it's in an HStack. And if I switch back to the portrait mode, horizontal is compact and we're in a VStack. That's all we're going to learn in this video. There are ways to make your own layouts, and then you can erase your custom layouts to AnyLayout. But generally speaking, especially for beginner apps, I think this is basically the maximum of the logic that you're going to need. You're just taking whatever the layout is, erasing it so that we can call it once in our code. I think this is super cool. It's awesome that it adapts in real time. So if the user's like moving your app or rotating your app, this layout will adapt automatically, immediately, because these environment variables get updated in real time. But I just wanted to show you guys that I don't use this that often. If you can have a single layout that just works without having to adapt to the changing device, that's probably better. But if you need to adapt, now you know how. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I am Nick. This is Swiftful Thinking, and I will see you in the next video.